Paris, 19th century. Eugenie is a girl from a wealthy, famous, and respected family. In a few days, she will discover how unbearably difficult it is to be a girl from a wealthy and respected family. Her father, a very despotic and stern man, demands unquestioning obedience from all members of the household and tolerates no liberties. His task is to find a good marriage for his son, who has already chosen a bride, and a good marriage for his daughter, who, in his opinion, is behaving completely inappropriately. Eugenie is not only beautiful, but also intelligent beyond her years, inquisitive, straightforward, and intolerant of injustice. In other words, she is in no way the meek young lady, humbly awaiting a worthy groom at the window. During a family dinner, Eugenie expresses her desire to attend a political debate, but her father forbids her from even considering it. Her mother, grandmother, and father are discussing the upcoming wedding of Théophile, Eugenie's brother. Eugenie goes to her room with a candle, but the flame begins to flicker, and Eugenie feels a sense of dread, as if someone invisible were nearby. Her grandmother, opening the door, asks her to come in, and they discuss Victor Hugo's funeral, which Eugenie attended in secret from her father. She is practically never allowed out of the house, and in the morning she asks her brother to take her with him. Her brother reminds her that she is forbidden to attend the debates, but in reality, Eugenie simply wants to spend her time as she pleases, strolling through Montmartre, stopping at a cafe, reading a book, and smoking. They ride in a carriage with her brother, chatting, and Théophile thinks she is being foolish. Sitting at a table in the cafe, Eugenie notices a young man reciting poetry. She meets the poet Ernesto and receives a book with his inscription on the title page as a gift. The book tells the story of the souls of the dead who are invisibly present in the world of the living. Eugenie's family, along with the parents of her son's fiancée, are strolling in the park. They discuss the fact that their son's future wife will soon be presented at court. Eugenie finds this all boring and absurd, so she jokes that she's being presented like a filly. Eugenie implies that this tradition is humiliating for women in general, but the bride takes this personally and is offended. The father quarrels with his daughter again, saying that she is embarrassing him in public. Eugenie confesses to her brother that she communicates with the souls of the dead. The soul of a young woman haunts her and asks for something, but Eugenie doesn't yet understand what she needs to do. These visions frighten the girl, but she can't shake them. After reading a book about souls given to her in Montmartre, Eugenie realizes that ghosts are not to be feared. She simply needs to learn to communicate with them. Her strange behavior worries her family, and they begin to doubt Eugenie's sanity. She suddenly finds a piece of jewelry, missing 40 years ago, under her dresser drawers and admits that her late grandfather told her how to find it. Her father decides to admit his daughter to the psychiatric clinic run by the renowned Professor Charcot. In the morning, her brother and father take Eugenie to the hospital. She begs them not to, but it's no use. Women are dependent and powerless, and any wealthy man can thus rid himself a wayward daughter or a tiresome wife. The examination and admission of the newcomer is conducted by the head nurse, Geneviève, a stern and withdrawn middle-aged woman. Eugenie struggles to adjust to her new life. She is placed in a general ward filled with women of varying ages and behaviors. An atmosphere of hopelessness, resignation, and despair hangs in the air. The clinic resembles a prison with torture chambers. The treatment methods are horrifying in their barbarity and impunity, and various experiments are carried out on patients. A young woman named Louise, Eugenie's roommate, ignores the noise, groans, and laughter and strikes up a conversation with her. Louise admires Eugenie's beauty and aristocratic manners. Louise says that she too will soon become a noble woman because she will marry a doctor, but this is a closely guarded secret. Everyone discusses the upcoming Christmas ball, the only annual entertainment for the residents, when they can dance with the invited men. During dinner, Louise tells her friend about the clinic's customs and inhabitants. At night, Eugenie is afraid to sleep, as snoring, groans, laughter, and screams are heard everywhere. Professor Charcot introduces Louise to the scientific assembly. He hypnotizes the patient, giving her commands, which she obeys without exception, but suddenly she has a seizure and falls to the floor. The doctor sets a date for the next session, ignoring the results of today's experiment. Louise regains consciousness, feeling weak, and the young doctor, Jules, encourages her. Louise asks when the doctor will marry her, as he promised. The doctor says after the Christmas ball. Genevieve comes home and talks with her father. They discuss Professor Charcot and his experiments on women. It's possible that he induces nervous shock in Louise during hypnosis, meaning his methods don't heal, but rather cause mental problems. Genevieve tells her father about her new patient, Eugenie. In the morning, Eugenie is waiting for the head nurse to ask her to arrange her escape. The girl claims she's normal, but possessing the gift of communicating with the souls of the dead. Eugenie then reveals that Genevieve has a secret, and that the woman has written thousands of letters to one person. The agitated nurse's expression changes and ends the conversation. Eugenie is right, Genevieve misses her dead sister and feels guilty about her. At night, the clinic's patients dream of how they will live once they are free. In the morning, the doctors interview Eugenie to determine a diagnosis and prescribe treatment. They ask if it's true that the girl speaks to the dead. Eugenie admits to believing in spirits and defends her right to do so. She asks why it's okay to believe in God but not in spirits. Charcot ignores the question, knowing that the patient will then raise it louder, and then he declares Eugenie aggressive and prescribes ice baths. The girl is placed in a barrel and strapped in. The treatment methods at the clinic are simple: suppress the patient's will, turning them into a docile animal. That evening, Théophile meets with Genevieve and, feeling guilty about his sister, asks her to give her a book about spirits. A man asks a nurse to help Eugenie, but the woman isn't ready to answer. Genevieve spends the night reading a book to the last page, crying and sad. In the morning, the woman goes to the church to receive a blessing for her future actions before the candles. She finds Eugenie and expresses her desire to speak with her late sister. In exchange, the woman longs to escape the clinic. Before Christmas, the patients come to the church for services. Before leaving, one of the women, climbing onto a bench, sings a song in a clear, beautiful voice. The people around her freeze, holding their breath, and the singer is happy. Everyone gathered embraces the woman, their faces filled with smiles and enlightenment. The next day, Genevieve takes Eugenie to a separate room. The woman tries to summon the ghost of Sister Genevieve, but says she can't do so because her sister's spirit is busy, as their father has fallen ill in the kitchen. Genevieve runs home, managing to help her father. He asks her to explain why his daughter suddenly showed up in the middle of the workday. She admits she listened to Eugenie, who was told to do so by a spirit. But her father is furious and refuses to hear about miracles he doesn't believe in. He's disappointed in his daughter, whom he raised to be intelligent and sensible, and now considers her as crazy as the asylum's residents. Life goes on as usual. Eugenie undergoes her prescribed treatments, and in the evenings the patients play riddle games. Ice baths deteriorate her health, and she is diagnosed with inflammation of her internal organs. Louise has developed muscle problems and is unable to move. These are the consequences of Professor Charcot's treatment methods. Dr. Jules calms Louise, assuring her of his tender feelings. During her rounds, Eugenie lashes out at her tormentors in anger, accusing the doctors of driving the clinic's residents mad. They sedate the girl with ether, and she loses consciousness. Genevieve asks Dr. Charcot to lighten Eugenie's sentence, but he can do nothing. The girl is ordered to remain in isolation, and Jean, a nurse with clearly sadistic tendencies, is assigned to look after her. Eugenie is placed in a solitary cell, and upon entering, she begins to choke in terror. It's dark, and rustling sounds, screams, and groans can be heard all around. She undresses, angrily unfastening the corset that restricts her breathing. The cruel fashion of the time forced women to wear what was essentially a garrote to please men. Genevieve gets ready for bed, slowly removes her corset, sits up in bed, and lights a cigarette with relish. Now she doesn't have to pretend, and she appreciates these rare moments of freedom. In the morning, Jean joyfully tells Eugenie that they'll play Eclipse and closes the shutters. This was the last thing the girl saw before plunging into pitch darkness. Every morning, Jean opens the shutters only for a few seconds a day, which is much worse than not opening them at all. Genevieve comes to Eugenie, thanks her for helping her father, and promises to help. Later, when they meet, Jane comments that the girl doesn't look well. Suddenly, Eugenie, in a trance, talks about Jeannie's mother and a certain family secret. Jenny had once committed her mother to this mental hospital. The woman had done something to Jeannie's son, and now begs her daughter's forgiveness. Eugenie reveals the child's name, which no one else is supposed to know. Jean cries on the girl's shoulder, but then, in a fit of rage, tries to strangle her. The nurse believes Eugenie to be a witch and prefers not to mention her family secret. Genevieve tricks Jean into giving her the key to the girl's cell. When the conspirators meet, they communicate through the door, and Eugenie informs her that her dead sister is happy to speak with Genevieve, but asks her not to write her any more letters. Genevieve experiences immense relief and joy. She asks the doctor to transfer Eugenie to the general ward after a month of isolation, and the girl is returned to her fellow sufferers. Louise remains motionless, saddened by the fact that she will not be able to dance at the ball. Genevieve is plotting an escape. Théophile receives an invitation to a costume ball from her. The clinic's female patients are eagerly preparing for the upcoming entertainment, choosing outfits from a pile of dresses. The women present a pitiful sight, their clumsily painted faces and wrinkled dresses only adding to the horror of this theater of the absurd. Finally, the clinic's residents are gathered in a large hall, and the invited men arrive as the ball begins. Dr. Jules introduces the women as patients of the great Dr. Charcot. Eugenie meets her brother and dances with him. Music plays, and everyone around them is having fun. Jeannie, harboring a grudge, watches Eugenie, but suddenly loses sight of her. Genevieve's plan is for Eugenie and her brother to change in her office, and the three of them leave the building together. Jenny pursues them, but the fugitives manage to escape into the street. By this time, everyone at the ball is already drunk, and a riotous orgy begins. Dr. Jules, intoxicated, rapes the paralyzed Louise, dragging her into a private room. The clinic's patients burst in and attempt to strangle the doctor. Jeanne almost catches up with the fugitives, but the brother and sister manage to board a carriage and leave. Genevieve refuses to go with them, so she is taken back into the clinic. Genevieve tells Jeanne that today will reveal who is truly mad. The next morning, Genevieve wakes up as a patient at the clinic where she worked just yesterday. She dreams of a joyful Eugenie, now free and helping people using the special gift given to her. While out for a walk, Genevieve is given a letter from Eugenie, in which she thanks her courageous savior. Genevieve is calm and happy, as Eugenie assures her of her continued, endless support, admiring the fortitude of her kind angel.